Hi, Anmol. Thanks for joining us on this coffee chat today. Glad to have you here. And thanks for coming here. And I know we're going to be talking about opportunities available at college and what are the different things you can indulge in. So thanks for doing this. And I'm excited to hear your journey at college so far.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure to be here, Abhinav. Anything for you, anything for NexTrack. Um, Super excited to be here, and yeah, let's get into it.
Lovely. Great. So maybe just to begin, Anmol, you can tell us, who you are, what you're doing right now. Just a small introduction would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Anmol, born and raised in India, in Delhi, and I just finished my second year at UCLA. So I'm a rising junior, majoring in business economics with a minor in accounting. And as for my internships, I'm currently interning at JetC. It's a tech startup based in New York, and I'm a finance and accounting intern there. So yeah, that's been exciting this summer, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Awesome. That's exciting. And I can't believe you've been at college for 2 years already. We've known each other for a much longer time. So how have your, first 2 years at UCLA been so far, Anmol?
That's a good question. I mean, it's been a mixed bag for sure. My freshman year was not the ideal freshman year that you'd expect. I was stuck at home because of COVID.
Yeah.
It wasn't ideal, staying up until 3:30, 4, attending classes, giving exams. And I think the worst part of it was I was missing out on a bunch of different opportunities, like,
Yeah.
joining clubs and organizations, professional networking opportunities, and just forming relationships, with my peers and professors.
Yeah.
But I think since coming here last September, my sophomore year, it's been incredible. I mean, the clubs I've joined, the people I've met,
Yeah.
the relationships I've formed, and the opportunities that I've had access to, and the opportunities that really would attract you to a college like UCLA. So
Yeah.
it was nice to actually come to campus and explore some of those.
That's awesome. And I know it was a hard start because I think for your first quarter, if I remember, you were still in India. And so it must have been tough at that time to go through that. And I know a lot of students did that. So kudos to you for just going through that phase, persevering, and then getting to campus the year after that. And you talked about, opportunities at UCLA, and that was one of the reasons why you chose UCLA in the end as your choice of college as well. So once you got to campus, what were the opportunities you sort of indulged in? Because there's so many different things that you can do. What were the things that you picked, and how have you spent your time outside of the classroom at UCLA?
Yeah, for sure. I think that three major opportunities, I'd categorize them into three buckets, and they're all interconnected. One thing leads to another.
Yeah.
One would definitely be the clubs and organizations that I'm repeatedly referring to.
Yeah.
Second would be networking, and thirdly, I think getting internships and securing full-time roles. Um, all of those, as I said, clubs and organizations, you want to get involved as much as you can. Like, I'm a part of two consulting organizations on campus. So what we do is we work with small businesses and nonprofits in and outside of LA on things like launching a new product, doing market analysis, data analytics, just branding, maybe working with their financial systems a little bit. So it's a great opportunity to sort of get client work, like real client work, this early on in your career, and really have an impact, outside of UCLA and your community.
Yeah.
And networking. Now, UCLA is a large school, right? We have about 40,000 graduates every year. So you're likely to find some UCLA graduate in literally any industry you can think of. So networking plays a huge role because you can really leverage it to get jobs, to get internships.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't really have a lot of access to staying at home. A time different 12-hour time difference. So that was definitely one thing I really leveraged, sort of built my network. And
Yeah.
then these two things, clubs and networking, really get you in a good spot to get an internship. And UCLA also has a portal. It's called Handshake. Um, so you have internships and full-time roles for specifically for UCLA students, so that really helps.
Right.
But I think overall there are a few opportunities that you have access to just by being a UCLA student.
Yeah.
But I'd say 80% of actually seeing an opportunity through is your initiative and the effort you put into it. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it.
Amazing, yeah, and that's the thing, right? All the colleges mostly will offer so many different opportunities, and it's completely down to you how much you use it. You have access to it, how much initiative you take, and like you beautifully put, it's one thing just having the opportunity, access to the opportunity. It's another taking that initiative and seeing it through, because very often in India, sometimes we do get internships and different opportunities through a network, through an access. It's very different in the US. And a lot of students will ask me that we're struggling finding internships, we're struggling finding jobs. And one of the biggest things is it's hard. It's not supposed to be easy. You have to do a lot of things. There are 10, 15 stages of interviews sometimes that you have to go through, and you could get rejected even then. So there is a lot of work that goes into it. And you mentioned at the start you have an internship this summer, and you had told me a few weeks ago that you also secured an internship at EY for next summer. So, which is really exciting. It's amazing to know that you have one this summer and you have another one lined up for next summer. So I would love to know, because I know this is something that's going to help students who are starting their freshman year at college now, and students who will be going to college next year. What should they do? How did you secure these internships? What sort of planning and commitment level went into that? I would love to learn a little bit more on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, starting off with Jetsy, the application process wasn't the major factor. I think the main thing was for me to really understand what I really wanted to do, like 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line,
Yeah.
and then really figure out, what I was interested in, what I'm passionate about, and making a framework such that my second year internship is the stepping stone to my third year internship. Because the third year internship, the one after your third year, is the main internship that you're going to do in college. Because mostly, I mean, you know this, but for people who are listening who don't know this, 95% of people who do an internship in that third year with a reputed company,
Yeah.
those convert to full-time roles.
Yeah.
So you want to really build as much as possible to that third year internship and secure the best one that you can. So yeah, that required a lot of work on my end just towards the end of my freshman year, beginning sophomore year. So how I did that is, I think, a good thing to talk about here. I talked to a lot of people, and this goes back to networking and the huge network that UCLA has.
Yeah.
Just using LinkedIn, getting on these informational interviews, seeing what people do on a daily basis in different industries. I had a few industries in mind, few different roles. So just to understand a little bit more of what they do, whether that's something I'll be interested in, do I see myself doing that a few years down the line?
Yeah.
So that was the main part. I think getting that startup internship at Jetsy wasn't that intense just because it was a startup.
Yeah.
But once I had that framework, it just made it that much easier for me to get that internship at EY.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to go into public accounting, and I wanted to work in the best firms, and that narrows it down to the big four: EY, Deloitte, KPMG, and PwC.
Yeah.
Now, another thing in America as an international student is you got to go to a firm which sponsors you for an H-1B visa after graduation. So that made it really tricky because there's only two firms in the big four that actually sponsor you, EY and Deloitte. So all my hopes were on these two firms.
Yeah.
And then, so I did some research, and this was not research that you could find online. This was getting information from people who actually worked at EY, worked in the LA office, worked in the role the assurance practice that I wanted to go into. So be very specific in terms of who you network with. And they told me there's a rolling application at EY. They take applications throughout the year. You apply. Unlike some of the other firms that have very strict periods of recruitment. So I did that, and I had a few interviews with partners at EY and got the job done. But yeah, I think the key thing from all of this, the whole internship experience, this one, next one, was just having a framework towards the end of your freshman year. Don't delay that. You want to do that as soon as possible, and just use one internship for the next.
Great. And it sounds like there was so much planning that went into this, so much thought behind your decisions of even where to apply, which are the target companies for you, who do you network with. So it's tremendous. And the key, I would say, for a lot of students listening to this would be starting that in your freshman year. Don't wait till your sophomore or junior year for this, because like you mentioned, that internship at the end of your junior year, if it's a good one, you can get a pre-placement offer from that and just have a job secured going into your senior year. So fantastic. I'm really impressed how much went into this, and great job.
No, I mean, I'm on the shorter end of the spectrum in terms of the preparation that goes into it. I was fortunate enough to know certain things about the process from my mentors and people I spoke with. But people who are doing investment banking, who are doing tech, they go all out starting their freshman year. I had a friend. I have a friend who was interning at Google, and he got an internship in his freshman year. So at the end of his freshman year. And I've never heard of that happening for an international student. And he told me he went through 8 rounds of interviews for a freshman year internship.
Wow.
And why that is because that freshman year internship translated into a sophomore year internship. And then he has one now for junior year, and obviously he's going to join Google upon graduation. Wow. So the point is, the earlier you start, the better the head start you have, and then you're essentially securing internships with the same company for all of your college career and possibly your full-time role as well.
Nice. That's a great insight. That's amazing to know. Good job for your friend to kind of plan this out and get this done.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So last question, Anmol. You've answered this question already in a lot of ways, but any recommendation, any tips for students who are starting their freshman year now, apart from everything that you shared already?
I think firstly, just figure out what you want to do as soon as possible. Find out what you're interested in, find your passion, and you can do that through joining organizations, getting to do some real work, which simulates what you do in an actual job if you were in that role. Talk to as many people as you can, network with people in the role that you want, see if that's something you're interested in, and then, as you pointed out, getting a head start and don't delay making that framework of internships to your sophomore year or junior year. You want to do that end of your freshman year, latest early sophomore year. And then start applying for internships your early sophomore winter quarter. So you have one for your second year, and then that usually will translate into one for the third year, and you're basically set. So don't delay the process. Figure out what you want to do as soon as possible.
Great. Awesome, Anmol. This has been absolutely amazing, and I hope a lot of students end up watching this. And once again, thanks for doing this, and congratulations on all your success so far at UCLA as well. And I'm hoping that EY internship next year turns into an offer once you graduate.
Yeah, hopefully. No, it's been a pleasure talking to you, catching up. I hope this helps for the people watching, and I'm more than happy to, take any further questions. If anyone wants to reach out, for sure, I'm sure you can connect us if someone's interested. Yeah,
that would be great. Awesome, Anmol. Thank you so much. And I know you did this at a very late hour on a Sunday night, so thanks for that as well. And I hope you have a great week ahead.
Thanks, man. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.